It helps if I turn the microphone on. It's my favorite thing. It's snowing outside. Just looking at my car through the window, I haven't been out yet. It's about 2 inches, and looks like the snow's going to end in about 20 minutes. So we might end up with about 2 inches, maybe three on the optimistic side. But I'm going to go to the lake as soon as the sun comes up and take some pictures. Sure is pretty, and it's going to get cold. This is our weather spotlight, spotlight, spotlight. Omaha, Nebraska. Sub-zero wind chills expected early next week, and we go. So you see where Denison is on these maps. I'm the county just south of that, Shelby County. So Denison, Monday morning wind chill minus 11, Tuesday morning minus 16, Wednesday morning minus 17, and you see widespread minus teens and a few minus 20s for the next several mornings starting on Monday. So yeah, the cold is coming, and the actual air temperatures they'll be pretty close to zero. But the 3 to 7 day U.S. hazards outlook doesn't have Iowa in the dangerous temperatures or hazardous temperatures. However, North Dakota is here. And then this is the 4th through the 8th, by the way. Heavy snow, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, into Ohio, even a little bit of Kansas. And freezing rain just south of that into Kentucky, parts of Tennessee. Heavy rain south of that. And severe weather possible south of that. And then a frost freeze for Florida, the 5th through the 8th. And there you see heavy snow off of Lake Ontario in the eastern Great Lakes. So this is, an experimental. No, this one's not experimental. So this is what we're looking at. Even some high winds up there in Alaska with some heavy precipitation. Meanwhile, the hazardous outlook for the 8 to 14 days is much below temperatures the 9th through the 12th for a big chunk of the southeast into the Midwest into Florida, which I guess is part of the southeast, and the mid-Atlantic, U2. Meanwhile, 2 weeks of snow, according to the GFS ensemble. This is not how much snow is on the ground on the 16th, but how much snow falls between now and the 16th, according to the GFS ensemble. And I'll just pick where I am here in western Iowa, west central Iowa, around 8 inches. So if we have 2 now, that means 6 for this weekend storm. I don't know that we're going to get there, but we'll see. It depends on the track, but the track is further to the south, and I think Missouri into Illinois, you're pretty much a lock for 12 to 16 inches. Crazy. West Virginia, 20 inches, a couple of feet off of the eastern Great Lakes, and then the northern Idaho mountains, 24 plus inches. And then into the Cascades of Washington, you're looking closer to 3 feet in some areas there. All right, let's show our work. We'll start with this morning. Temperature change, most dramatic in the southeast because that cold front that moved through here a day or so ago has now reached down to the southeast, and actually a tad bit warmer in the central plains. We're slightly cooler here in western Iowa with the snow coming down. Did I mention it's snowing? It's like my favorite thing. All right, and warmer than it was yesterday for the central Rockies, for example. Anomalous temperatures above average south and southwest, and here in the Midwest, even in Iowa, but cooler than average down there in the southeast up to, say, Ohio. Current temperatures, we're in the mid-20s right now with the snow coming down. We see mid-20s all the way down to Nashville, 30s all the way down to, central Alabama, pretty close to freezing there, Jackson, Mississippi. So it's cold, it's winter, but we do see those negative numbers right now up there in Montana and North Dakota. It's coming. Here are the hazards today. Yep, winter weather advisory where I live in Iowa. This is like kind of a stripe, a narrow stripe through the state into Illinois. Further south in Kansas, they've issued a winter storm watch. So watch out for a winter storm this weekend there. Into the Rockies, winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories. So Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, into Montana, northern Montana, winter storm watch. And winter weather advisories there for Oregon, Washington. Meanwhile, lake effect snow is going to be felt, and we have some watches and warnings up there in the Northeast, and some wind advisories as well. And there you see possibility of some freezing temperatures down there in southern Georgia. Next 2 days of precipitation. There's that narrow band of precipitation through Iowa into, say, Illinois and Indiana. Off of the lakes, some heavy precipitation next 2 days. Into West Virginia, a lot. I don't know, that looks kind of funky. Maybe it's an error, but again, we showed quite a bit of precipitation for West Virginia in the next 2 weeks. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, could be some flooding rains, Northern California into Southern Oregon. And in the mountains, of course, it's snow, especially Washington Cascades. And then inland, especially Wyoming, in the mountains there near Yellowstone, and also down into Colorado. But even some snow in the plains of Montana. There's our stripe of snow in Iowa, saying here 2 to 3 inches. That's probably what it's going to be. And then heavier amounts off of the Great Lakes. Surface for today. We've got a secondary surge of cold air behind this little system that's moving through Iowa right now. So colder air moving down the plains, making it as far as south as Kansas this morning, probably going to continue further south. The stripe of snow in Iowa expected to move further east into the Midwest as we go through the day. Lake effect snow machine turning back on, New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan. And we see, again, freezing rain for the Columbia River Gorge, perhaps, and snow into the Rockies. All right, surface for tomorrow. There's that colder air heading southward in the plains and into the Midwest. More lake effect snow, and the west is an icy, snowy, rainy mess. Maybe some heavy snow there in parts of Montana, with snow in the eastern part of Montana and the plains east of the Rockies. Saturday, here comes our big storm through the plains into the Midwest and Kansas, Missouri. Most likely the bullseye for the heaviest snow. Thankfully, this has it a little further north, so the heavy snow for Nebraska into Iowa, I'm right on the edge of that. So I'm hoping to get some of the heavy snow. Most likely it'll be south of me, south of I-80. But we shall see. Maybe some ice thrown in there, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, into Kentucky throughout the day Saturday. And this will go into Sunday, by the way. And then in the west, we still have rain and snow, depending. And snow off of the Great Lakes. All right, let's start it this morning on the GFS model. Here's our little patch of snow at 6 a.m. This is a little further east than it actually is. It's more back here, probably by 6 a.m., but moving out of western Iowa. And then another storm system moving into the Pacific Northwest. And see the wind howling across the Great Lakes and lake effect snow here. So let's go through the morning, 9 a.m. Do I have my times right? No, I actually started a little later than I thought. Let me get back to... Here we go. This is 6 a.m. That's about right. Actually, we're a little further east than this. All right, so this is 6 a.m. That's more like it. And then the lake effect snow, lots of wind here. And then that little patch of snow continues to move eastward into Illinois. This gets us into tonight. Pacific Northwest, rain, snow, ice, depending. Little patch of snow into Ohio and West Virginia. Lake effect snows for the Great Lakes as we head further into Friday. This gets us to noon Central Time. Cold air moving southward. And a lot of snow, well, a lot of light snow, but all-day snow for West Virginia. Rain and snow, some of it heavy in the Pacific Northwest. As we continue in time, we've got rain in Boise, snow all around. Midnight Friday night. And we're starting to see the beginnings of our snowstorm here. So a little bit of light snow in South Dakota as we head into Saturday morning. That starts to increase, moves into Nebraska. We start to see some of the ice in Kansas as we get into Saturday afternoon, evening. This is Saturday night. Freezing rain, Kansas, snow, Nebraska on the light side. As we get closer to midnight, this is midnight Saturday. So quite a bit of freezing rain, and the snow's really picking up. Missouri, Kansas, mainly. The lighter snows back in Nebraska and Iowa. Heavy snow, southern Nebraska, northern Missouri. Sunday morning, this is 3 a.m. 6 a.m. The heavy snow, again, south of I-80 in Iowa, really along the Missouri border. And Lincoln, Nebraska might get hit with some of this heavier snow. The further south you are in Nebraska and Iowa, the better your chances are. But Kansas, Missouri, just heavy snow dumping. And unfortunately, heavy freezing rain. It's possible too. And as that storm really gains strength, Kansas getting walloped with snow. Northern Missouri, same. A little bit of snow in southern Iowa and southeastern Nebraska. Moving into Illinois and Indiana. This gets us to Sunday at noon. Snow picking up a little bit for me here. But the heaviest stuff, again, further south, and that's a lot of snow, Kansas, into Missouri, and then further to the east. And then this is freezing rain. No one wants that. And then chance of thunderstorms, maybe severe weather, as we saw on our hazards map. So as that storm gets going Sunday afternoon, still heavy snow, Kansas, Missouri, lighter snow up here into Nebraska and Iowa, and then ice moving into Kentucky out of Missouri, and then a chance of severe weather in western Tennessee all the way down in through Louisiana as we get into Sunday night. That's quite an ice storm for you, Kentucky. And I've been to Kentucky a year after a major ice storm in Lexington, and you could see the trees were still broken. So the results of that were not good. And this could be a repeat here because Lexington's right about there. Heavy freezing rain if this comes true. Still heavy snows blowing around in Missouri as we get into Sunday night, approaching midnight. This is 9 p.m. Snow in southern Iowa. So we'll probably get some accumulating snow here in Harlan. And again, if this deviates just 50 miles north, we're going to get a lot more. And then the severe weather moving through the southeast. As the storm progresses eastward, freezing rain for West Virginia, thunderstorms trailing back into the southeast, some pretty good snows moving into Indiana, into Pennsylvania, into New Jersey. The snow and the storm starts to weaken, but still lingering. A little bit of snow on top of your ice there, Kentucky and Virginia and West Virginia. So that's one solution. We'll see as we get closer how the models continue to handle that. Now the GFS has a patch of snow busting out here in the south. So here's some snow for El Paso at around noontime Wednesday the 8th, and some scattered snows into central Texas. Maybe Austin will see snow from this. We'll see Waco, southern New Mexico down to Las Cruces perhaps. Pretty crazy. And then we'll throw in more snow and a stripe of ice pretty far south in Texas, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, ice a little further north of Houston. Houston looks like it's staying all rain on this model run, but the snow's getting kind of close. Snow into eastern Texas, into northern Louisiana, into Arkansas, into northern Mississippi, a stripe of freezing rain, severe weather further south of that, or thunderstorms at least. Now we're getting pretty far out here. This is the 10th, so this is 8 days away. So this is one possibility, with snow across Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, into South Carolina and North Carolina, and then that moves off to sea. And then another dump of cold air behind that system going all the way, freezing temperatures all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And then as we go further into the month, this is the 12th, it could be another round of rain or snow into the south, lake effect snow, lake enhanced snow, just getting kind of crazy. And then I think around, well, we're starting to see a little bit of warm up here in the plains, and this is rain in Texas by the 16th. That's a little too far out to be certain. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, kind of like yesterday. Cold east, warm west, and precipitation wise, the best chance of above is the northern plains, getting into the central plains. Below, parts of the Midwest, Mississippi River Valley, Ohio River Valley. But as we've seen, even below average precipitation doesn't mean none. And this is the 9th on. So the heaviest precipitation will be before the 9th. All right, there's your look at your winter weather as it unfolds. I'm going to head over to the lake. The sun's not up yet, but I'm going to enjoy some of the snow. I'll have some pictures for you tomorrow and your forecast too. Thanks for tuning in. The Weather Mike.